Seriously, who still checks out BuzzFeed? Well, according to SEMrush, they're having 12 million visits per month, but in 2018, they actually had 60 million views per month. But let's go back a little bit. This guy started BuzzFeed when he was actually working in the Huffington Post, so this was sort of a side hustle. So they focused on popular content, raised around 696 million, and eventually went public. Their stock price went from $10 to $0.58. But they did say something in 2023 that made their stock skyrocket 200% in around a month. They said they're going to start using OpenAI in their content. Then they released an investor presentation, so let's take a look at it and analyze it. When you come to think about it, this presentation is really addressed to you at the end of the day because the company is public, so they want people to invest in their stock. So this is to you and to everyone who might be interested in investing. They start off by showing what BuzzFeed includes in terms of acquisitions and companies, and of course a disclaimer as they're a public company, about BuzzFeed Inc. and what BuzzFeed is in terms of a company from the core. So it's a premier digital media company for most diverse, most online, and most socially engaged generations that the world has ever seen. It's a good starter. It would just tell you what the big company is all about and then what the smaller is. I love this timeline. That's how they started with, because you always wonder when you're thinking of BuzzFeed, what happened to them? Where are they? So it's a good thing to start with the timeline. Jonah started the BuzzFeed, and then he launched BuzzFeed News in 2012, which was just recently closed. It was shut down very recently, and it shows that is one of the reasons why the company is not performing very well, because it's an award-winning department as well of BuzzFeed. Increasing in revenue, 100 million, and then they acquired a lot of things, including Huffington Post, which is interesting because Jonah used to work there at the beginning. Then they acquired another company. This, in a nutshell, summarizes everything about the deck because it shows what they're going to talk about. Long-term value creation, leading media 2.0 platform for the next generation, just a few goals or points to what their values are. Then they start talking about their business model, which is not news, as you might say, which is not entertainment, it's everything. A little bit of entertainment, a little bit of news, a little bit of food as well. So they're diversifying their business model, which is quite smart. But the fact that BuzzFeed News closed up, that shows also that they're not performing very well in this aspect, in the news aspect. But so is a lot of news companies as well at the moment. It's sort of an industry that is being revolutionized. Massive, highly engaged audience in 2019, 2022. The only problem with this is that I don't believe it. I mean, I do believe the numbers. They can't lie about these numbers per se, but they're sugarcoating reality. What I want to see is their increase in engagements from whenever they launched till now. It should be impressive, but I don't think it will be. I think it's gonna look like negative, more negative than what you'd expect to see. Competitive barriers and how they're working through it. Very good. I think it's a good slide because it shows how they're intending to get into any competitive barriers that come up in the future as well, because they've probably been through a lot of competitions and they were trending at a certain stage and they had to have some competitions, and this is how they intend to focus on it. Aligned with massive secular trends, video and social, e-commerce, high quality content, sort of their means of transmitting the message. And then the diversified revenue model operating at scale. So they're not just making money advertising, they're making money advertising and through content and through commerce, which is supposedly smart because if the advertising revenue decreases, the others are still there. Powered by rich audience insights, proprietary tech stack, creating a growth flywheel, and then they put things like Quizmaker built into CMS, headline optimization. This is sort of the tech slide of BuzzFeed and what the tech team is really working at all times and how they're intending to enhance BuzzFeed across the upcoming years. Powering organic growth of brands. Tasty, they're taking Tasty as a case study and how it grew over the years. Then the differentiated approach to cross-platform content creation and distribution. They would have to just showcase that BuzzFeed Inc. and how they're spreading across Google and all the other things, how their approach is different than others. And yeah, so that's, I mean, a lot of those slides I really don't think they're useful at this stage, because we just want to know what's going on with you guys, not per se a lot of details about technical things, that we just would like to know why you're not performing really well. I mean, if you look at their financials last year, they lost a ton of money. Their net profit is really not good. Emerging businesses, and then they start showing their future products like BuzzFeed Shopping and some feature films and content licensing, which is a good idea. It's just the problem is, the question is, will they run out of money before they actually do that? I haven't seen their cash flow per se, so I really wouldn't know the answer to this question, but I do know that they're financially not doing really well. Our track record as an industry-leading consolidation platform, the acquisition of Huffington Post, Complex Network, and how this is a smart acquisition, and highlights of it, all the details of each acquisition. Now they're taken, because if you're a company who are showing to investors what your traction is, you would also want to show them what companies you acquired and how they're valued, per se, long-term value creation, and then they close the deck. And then they start showing some of their net income and so on, but this is already public, so you can see it anywhere online. The thing is, BuzzFeed laying off a lot of people, shutting down departments, and not having very good financial performances over the years is not really good for the company. At the end of the day, the whole stunt with OpenAI is only going to show in the future, because it's a long-term game. So we're going to have to look in the next 5 years what happens to BuzzFeed and if they're really back on the radar. Thank you for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.